Hi everyone, Melissa from Going My Own Pace here. I hope you're well today. I wanted to talk a little bit today about why I've done something a little bit surprising and kind of how that links to that whole dance of what happens when you're improving with chronic illness, but you're not actually really near normal, but you're trying really hard to live there, but you keep getting yourself into the boom bust cycle and all of the feelings that come along with that. So, for a quick introduction, I have had chronic symptoms my whole life. I don't remember a time where I didn't struggle with sleep or pain or fatigue. And I've had a lot of different symptoms over the years, and I've had a very long journey to get to where I am. The diagnosis history is crazy pants, and it's been a big deal. In the last 2 years, a lot has happened. So we realized, well, first I started low dose naltrexone, and then I met a doctor who took my insomnia seriously and put me on a low dose of quetiapine. And then for the first time in 20 years, I stopped experiencing insomnia. It didn't magically completely fix all the sleep issues, so I still have impeccable sleep hygiene. I do all the things, and sometimes it still doesn't work out well. But generally now I can get a good amount of quality sleep. So that deep and REM sleep, I never got that before. And then a bit after that, we realized that my just heavy painful periods was actually endometriosis. And so then I ended up having a hysterectomy and endometriosis excision surgery. And then about 4 months after that surgery, and it was a rough recovery, it actually took me about a year to come right after that surgery. I was very impacted, but I was very sick when I went into the surgery. I had lost a lot of weight. I was down to 50 kilograms and I was suffering. And I started seeing a chiropractor, and they had to start very, very gently at first. But now, kind of 18 months later, so it's 2 years to the surgery and just over 18 months of seeing the chiropractor, and things have really clicked into place for me. So functionally and symptom wise, I'm better than I was before, like far and away better than I was before. So much so that I keep overdoing it and putting myself into the boom bust cycle, which people with chronic fatigue know very, very well. And in part, it's a conscious choice. So I am a mama and I have 4 small children, and this YouTube channel and all of my work from Melissa versus Fibromyalgia and Going My Own Pace is like a primary mission for me. Like, it is very important for me to share anything I learn in case it helps someone else in their journey, because I lost my entire 20s being very unwell. I was gaslit. I was badly treated by medical professionals and people in real life. No one understood what I was experiencing, and I don't want that for anyone else. So that's important and can't shift. So you've got the family responsibilities that can't shift and that. But now that I'm starting to feel better at 39 years old, I have golden dreams that I want to get achieved. And this year I said, let's go on fiction. So I started writing fiction. And in April, I released Mindfully Yours, Ella, which was a fiction story, a cozy contemporary romance with a main character with fibromyalgia. And she learns self-acceptance, how to take care of her health, and what it means to be happy even when you can't be in remission or cured, and how to let someone love you, how to recognize that you're not a burden. And she has a rather delicious love interest, and they get married. And I actually have a sequel for them coming out in October called Beautifully Ours, and that's kind of what happens after the happily ever after, because nothing is just fixed with the happily ever after, right? And so I explore that a little bit deeper. But what happened is because for so many years I had no time or energy or cognitive ability, to be clear, to pursue it. I had all these ideas coming in my brain, and so I actually have many manuscripts in many different forms sitting across places. I've had to actually consolidate that because for many years, and including now, I still have a very limited time I'm able to go on the computer. I haven't been able to use the computer for very long, and so things like, consolidating and keeping my files in tidy areas has not been high on the priority list, because my work, my paid part-time job, takes almost everything I have outside of my children. But this year, after writing Mindfully Yours Ella, I went, oh my goodness, not only do I love this and was this like a dream come true, but I got pulled back into an idea that came to me a little while ago. And anyone who's been following me for the last few years will know that I have also felt this tension where I need to share this information. You know, like I wrote Pregnancy and Fibromyalgia book and the Melissa versus Fibromyalgia book because the information was not there and I needed it and it wasn't there, so I created it. And it feels like I'm still constantly coming across this, right? Like there isn't good fibromyalgia representation in fiction, so I wrote that. Now I'm working on a book very slowly, and I have been over the last 2 years, finding my own pace, which is my whole story. All of the misdiagnosis story, the undertreatment, everything that I would love to be able to share with you if you could come over and have a cuppa in my lounge and we could talk about all the things and anything that might help. And so I'm working on that. But what I really kept coming back to was this idea that, so a couple of years ago, I was on a road trip with my family and this idea smacked me in the head. And it had nothing to do with chronic illness. That's the point of that whole thing, wrapping that up. I want to share something or write something that doesn't have to do with my health. And I didn't know how to get away from that when my whole life is full, right? My full responsibilities, my family, my house, my health things that I have to do to remain as well as possible, and the blog work and the nonfiction work. How do I fit in something else? And I had this 20,000 word manuscript sitting there. So from this road trip, this idea came in my head and it wouldn't let go. And I kind of daydreamed the whole thing. And then a few months later, it came back again as another kind of daydream. And I was like, oh gosh, okay, I'll write it down. So I wrote it down and it became a 20,000 word document and it sat unattended until I finished Mindfully Yours, Ella, and Beautifully Ours. So I wrote those at the beginning of this year. Again, I wrote them pretty quickly because I had like 10,000 words sitting there of this idea that I had that I didn't know quite what to do with it. But I've talked about my story behind Mindfully Yours, Ella, so I don't want to get distracted. But after I wrote those books, I felt like I just needed to do it. So what I did is I carved out time. Oh, I burnt myself out bad because who has much time left over with all these responsibilities? So in the fringe hours, literally on my phone, so I use Google Docs so it can go on the computer and on my phone. So lying in bed, reclined in my lazy boy with my heat pack on, in the bitty bits of time that I have, I wrote the book. And it became A Home with the Pack. And I realized that you can't just put a random different type of book in a business that already exists. So in order to sell my nonfiction work, I have Melissa N. Reynolds. And that's like a thing. You know, I've got my PayHip store, my Lulu store, and my Amazon store, and all this stuff on YouTube and my Instagram. And everyone knows that I talk about chronic illness. And so you can't just be like, oh, also here's this random other thing. And I sat on it for a while because I knew that I don't really have the energy to run 2 micro businesses in amongst everything else. But it called to me because I dream and have dreamed my whole life of not only publishing a book, but being an author. And so I thought, what if I make an author business? What if I give it a go and take everything I've learned from everything in my paid work, which is in communications and fundraising, and in this work, you know, all this stuff, and try and see. And so I made a pen name. Her name is Cassia Moonglen. At first I was going to keep it secret, but I don't really need to. I'm not ashamed of it or anything like that. I just need it to be separate. So Cassia Moonglen, it's all set up, and the first book is physically, like the paperback is available right now, and tomorrow the ebook will be available. And so it's available on Amazon KDP. So if you have that Kindle Unlimited thing, then it will be on available on there to borrow. But you can also purchase that as a digital book, an ebook, or a paperback book. and I can show it to you. I'm very excited about it. My brother created this cover. He's a graphic designer. He created all my covers, and I am in love with it. And I can't believe I wrote all these words. This is my proof copy. So it's got like little edits inside from my last edit. But this is the actual cover, which I'm very excited about. And like I said, it's available tomorrow. But why? Because I had to. And so it's out and I'm excited. And yes, it is paranormal romance, which makes people think, oh, fluff. But actually, although on the surface it is paranormal romance, I explore those deeper meanings that I do in my Mindfully Yours Ella and related books. It's all about autonomy and dignity and learning to trust and rely on ourselves, but also remembering and learning our innate sense of worth, no matter what has happened to us, no matter what we experience, no matter our health status. We are worthy of love and we deserve it. And we deserve a lot of things, including bodily autonomy, which is actually turning into an important theme in finding my own pace. But I don't want to confuse you and digress too far. So I'm exhausted now because I have done a lot this year and my body is paying me back for it. My heart rate variability is down to 18 again. I had got it into the early 30s. At my age, it's meant to be in the 40s, and it is an indicator of kind of overall health and an indicator of mortality. Not saying I'm going to die soon, but it's a good indicator of health overall. So I've let it slip. I've been overdoing it because I just am that passionate. I'm 39 years old and I'm only just able to start exploring hobbies and things that I love to do. So yeah, I got very passionate about it and I have to suck it up. And, you know, every day I'm having a headache and feeling exhausted and whatever else. I know that I'm going to be forever proud that I did this. This is a thing I did and I'm so excited. And like I did with Mindfully Yours Ella and Beautifully Ours, I did write books 1 and 2 of this in quick succession. So book 1 I wrote, and then I went straight on to writing this, which is book 2. This is the proof copy. It's not out until the end of July, but I wrote them because this is essentially the sequel to the first one, even though they are part of a larger series. So I have this idea for quite a large series, and all of the advice for author businesses and new authors, and especially writing in paranormal romance, is that you need to be able to do a rapid release situation where you can get a few books out so that you have a back catalogue so people can find you and then they want to read multiple books. And I wanted to have the third one out pretty soon, but my friends, I am tired. So I'm slowing down. I literally have written down a step-by-step how Melissa's going to slow down plan, because otherwise I'm going to smash the wall, and I don't want to, because the people who will miss out will be me and my children. However, this is my proof copy. I'm going to proof it. I'm going to upload the edits, and then I'm going to get what they call beta readers or advanced readers, depending on the purpose, to read it and give me feedback. And then I'll have the 2 of them ready to go. And I don't know, it's weird. Like, I've blogged for like 11 years, right? But you can never, it's not tangible. But when you write words in books, then you get to like hold it and look at it. And it just blows my mind that this is something I dreamed of doing. I remember being like 12, 13, 14, writing little stories. And I remember when my dream felt dashed, because I did a degree, I did a Bachelor of Arts in English Literature and Media Studies, and I got sick in the last semester. So I'd already had symptoms, but I got sick. And after that is when I developed post-viral fatigue syndrome, which is now called ME/CFS. It's diagnosed chronic fatigue syndrome in my file. And I realized I could not do my master's. And my master's was going to be in English literature, particularly in romanticism. And I realized I could not physically do that. I could not work enough to survive and do my master's. And so at 21 years old, I had to give that up. And I was very sick across my 20s, and the last 9 years of my 30s have been hard. I've had to fight to get to where I am. So it is like a reminder that you can come back to your dream at 39 if you have to. But if you're younger than that, please go look through my content, and if anything is helpful and can help you like get there earlier, please take it. So anyway, that's a little bit about why I burned myself out, my exciting news. If you are interested in paranormal romance, if you're curious about it, then I'll put the link below and you can purchase it. I could also put the link below. Actually, I've got a free preview story. So if you're curious about what it looks when I write like that, I'll put that for you. Keep coming up here because I'm releasing the Finding My Own Pace audiobook series. The first few episodes are already batched because I like to be organized. I don't like to leave anything hanging. So they're coming. So make sure you're subscribed, make sure you like, and go and check out that playlist, because that's everything I learned and am learning, and I'm adding to it as I go because I'm learning new things every day. And this video is very long and I'm sorry. And thank you so much for being here.